Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirit. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you once again for tuning in for another action-packed show this week. This week sees us diving deep and discussing spirit communicators. Also in the show this week, we're going to have the channeling from spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel in order for spirit to bring their communications through for you. And also in this week's show, we have this week's energy forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of this week. So let's get started, shall we? We're going to talk about spirit communicators. So when I'm saying this, I'm referring to beings of another vibration, different to ours, from the world of spirit, or maybe energy that is trapped or in this environment, in our vibration, but aren't necessarily capable of having a physical body. So in order to, first of all, to have some communication with spirit communicators, what we need to understand is, first of all, we need to know who we are as an individual. Now, I know that this sounds very basic, very ground level, but in actual fact, as soon as we know who we are, what we like, what we enjoy, what makes us feel good, what makes us feel sad, then we have what I would describe as a baseline to work from. Now, speaking of baselines, this is something that I like to educate my students to use as well. Simply, before you do any spiritual work, I ask my students, and I'd like to employ everybody that's listening to try this, and you'll be surprised of the results, to check in with yourself. So basically, how you feel in your now moment, how you're feeling physically in your physical body, how you're feeling emotionally, and also be the observer of the thoughts that are passing through your mind at that precise moment. This is what I describe as a baseline check. So then anything, when you do connect with a spirit communicator, anything above those baseline energies and vibrations and observations that you encountered won't be your energy. It would be the energy or messages coming in from the world of spirit, from the spirit communicator. So it's very subtle. So it's very important that you get this right from the get-go. So understanding who you are and doing this baseline check will help you understand how to connect with a spirit communicator. The next thing you need to consider before doing any spiritual endeavors or spiritual work is protection. Now, I'm not talking about Wellington boots or jackets. I'm referring to energetic protection here. I'm talking about you respectfully asking the higher realms, and something that I always do is I call in Archangel Michael and the Band of Mercy, which are his helpers, his guiders, his collective, and you ask them to bring in that protection around you, placing you in a coloured ball of light, whatever coloured or energetic ball of light, whatever colour you feel inspired to ask for on that particular day, that particular moment, because as you know, we all change our vibration, and so it's important that you check in with what colour you're feeling in that day, and then ask to be placed in that ball of protection of that particular colour. It's very important that you do that. And then next of all is setting your intentions with spirit, setting your intentions with your higher self and the creator for that matter. Now, intentions is, what do you want out of the experience? What are you willing and what are you not willing to accept in your encounter, in your experience with a spirit communicator? Now, be clear with your intentions as well. For instance, I always ask for, I'd like to communicate with those spirit beings that come down in the name of love, light, peace, truth, and harmony. So I'm focusing my attention on positive, loving, high vibrational beings. When I'm working with clients, for example, and this is where I communicate on a regular basis with their loved ones, with their friends and family from the world of spirit there. So I'm setting that intention there. But I'm saying it with conviction, because I'm also setting boundaries about what I will and what I won't accept in that experience. And what you will find with connecting with a spirit communicator is that it happens very, very quickly. And so to enable you to hold that vibration of yours higher than it normally would resonate, and to hold that spirit communicator's vibration in that frequency band that you're in, so that you can exchange communications very quickly. You'll find that it will happen very quickly. Like I say, you'll be given images, you'll be utilized every part of your being in order for that communicator to bring forward that information. So they may show you symbolisms in your mind. They may actually talk to you directly into your physical ears or inside your mind as well. Usually for me, it's inside the mind. It's a quick dialogue in there. You may experience feelings and emotions that you're not currently experiencing. And this is where that technique I told you earlier about the baseline comes in handy, because you'll notice very subtle changes and you have to be on the ball in order to spot them, and then observe them and communicate what you're experiencing, as this is part of that spirit communicator's vibrational energy message that you need to convey. But to get to that level, you need to heighten your vibration. Heightening your vibration is very important when you're connecting with a spirit communicator, simply because they have to lower their vibration in order to connect with you. So to meet them halfway and to hold a vibrational frequency and information for a lot longer, you need to heighten your vibration. I recommend meditation is key to do this. Have that in your spiritual toolbox on a regular basis. Also, listening to high vibrational music before you're about to maybe work with spirit. Now, this can be any style of music. Now, I know people say, well, that music's negative, this music's negative. Well, in actual fact, I believe it's what music resonates with you, what brings you that energy, what brings you that upliftment, what makes you feel good in that moment as you're listening to that music. Now, for most of you, you will know that I'm a big fan of rock music and heavy metal. Now, a lot of people will say, well, why are you listening to that? That's very negative and it's this, that, and that. But for me, it makes me feel, it brings my energy up. I feel energized. It brings me joy in my heart. And I just feel really relaxed hearing it. And I know that sounds a little bit crazy to most. What, heavy metal, rock music, thrash music makes you feel relaxed? Well, yeah, it kind of does. It works for me. Everybody's individual. Some people might find classical music, might do that for them. Other people might like pop music. It depends on what vibrates with you. But what I would say is to trust that and use music as a means of heightening your vibration prior to working and indeed communicating with a spirit communicator. Getting yourself prepared, heightening your vibration, getting in that state so that you can observe and witness what information they're bringing forward. Now, in order to have this dialogue with them, this communication, you need to notice and you need to listen, not just with your physical ears. You need to listen with your heart, your emotions that you're experiencing. You need to also observe mentally what images, what thoughts are passing through your mind as you've set that intention to work with a spirit communicator. Notice those little subtleties changing, and you'll be surprised when they do. And also emotions changing as well. You may be in a happy mood, for example, and then all of a sudden your emotions start to feel a little bit depleted, and there's no specific reason for that happening. Well, this will be the interaction from the energy of that spirit communicator. So just be aware of that. and convey that to, if that is your client, or if that is if you're on a paranormal investigation, for example, you need to communicate that information as quickly and precisely with as much detail as you can to those individuals that you're working with at that moment in time. Like I say, speed is of the essence when you're working with a spirit communicator. You've got to hold that vibrational link. They've got to capture your vibrational link. So the quicker that you can get used to working and exchanging it and not allowing that energy to attach to you, the better your interactions will be. But also, notice the communicator. Notice their characteristics. Now, this is something you need to latch onto first of all. You don't just let anybody come in. You want to know a little bit about them. And in order to get that information, what I generally do is I tell them who I am quickly, of course, because speed is of the essence. I tell them what I'm about quickly again, and then I ask them for information about them. So, I'll want to know their characteristics, their appearance. And while I'm asking these questions, 9 times out of 10, these communicators are more than happy to oblige. I may not see all of their appearance. I may see the items of clothing that they're wearing, which when I do, I convey and describe that to the client or whoever I'm working with at that moment in time. Sometimes I see a flashed image. It's literally less than a second of part of that communicator's face or dominant features there. Quite recently, I've had a communicator come through, a male energy, and he had really thick set eyebrows. They were very distinctive on his facial features. So I was shown that first, a very quick flash of that. I didn't see all of his face, just that part. And then I saw like the side of his ears, the side of his profile, and his hairline there and the hair color, so that I could describe those key parts of his features to the client there. And so be aware of it happening very quickly. It's your job to spot it and say it as quickly and not have an attachment on it, because sometimes you're wanting to give your best, and you'll find what you'll be doing is you'll be trying to focus on that image again and focusing on it. And because you keep focusing on that image, you're stopping that communication, you're slowing it down. So you need to be quick, observant, and then bring forward that information as quick as you can, because that way the energy exchange will carry on between you and that spirit communicator. But also notice any characteristics within yourself change. Notice the way that you're holding yourself physically. You might be sat different for all of a sudden. You may be noticing that your head is maybe going to one side, or that you're tapping with your fingers on your leg or something like that. These are little characteristic traits, little mannerisms that will be evidence of that spirit communicator, something that they used to do when they were in their physical body there. So be aware of any of these little nuances, because it's the little details within this communication that's going to bring forward that evidential information for your client, which is an accurate as possible representation of this spirit communicator there. Also be aware, like I said earlier, about the appearance of that communicator. You can ask. Sometimes you don't always get the full picture of them, but you may see a snapshot of maybe an item of clothing that they absolutely love to wear. Well, again, describe that as quick as you can. Also, notice a voice. Like I say, when I communicate with them, I hear them mentally in using my spiritual ears inside my monologue there, mental monologue. And what usually occurs is I hear a different tone of voice. I hear a different accent as well, and it comes through very clearly. And again, it's all about picking it up really quickly, describing it as quickly as you can to the client before that vibration diminishes. That way you can bring forward as much detailed evidential information as possible that will resonate with that client, and bring that, your role really communicating and allowing this spirit communicator to blend their energy with yours in order to make this transmission. Your role is to simply bring that being to life in this form. So if you can do that with your accurate descriptions, your observations and conveying it in such a manner that will, without a shadow of doubt, let the client know, yep, that's them, that's what they do, yep, they wore that. So speed is of an essence when you're doing this type of work, definitely. And also, another thing that I would ask you to ask that communicator is simply, you need to insist, not be bossy, but like I said earlier, when you set intentions, you need to set an intention that these spirit communicators bring forward detailed evidential information. So you need to also ask, if they haven't brought it through already whilst you're communicating with them, can I have some evidence, please? And with you doing that, they will either show you an image, they may show you a little movie clip in your mind of something that relates between that spirit communicator and the client there. Now, again, this will happen very quickly, so it's up to you to observe and relay back to the client as accurately as possible of what you've just observed there. So keep asking. If they're not bringing it forward, keep asking again, and they will bring it forward for you, for the client there. So it is very important that you do that as well. Also, what I tend to do is I ask that spirit communicator, have they a message? Have they information that they want to bring through at that moment in time for either the client or whoever you are working with in that moment? So simply put that question out there to them, ask respectively, obviously, and just observe, as I say, your emotions, observe any thoughts that rush through your mind, even any direct communication, so hearing the voices there, and just listen for that response, not just with the ears, but with all of those senses that I've described, because that will be a message, that will be an answer for them. So, for example, you could ask that question to the communicator, and the next minute, you're feeling a little bit under the weather, you're feeling a little bit sick in your stomach there, all of a sudden. Well, don't just ignore it and sit there and wait for a direct communication to come through. This could be part of the message that they're wanting to convey to your client. So describe what you're feeling, what it reminds you of. And that is an important tool to consider as well when you are communicating with spirit. They will use the path of least resistance. So if, for example, you have a collection of your own personal memories from childhood or growing up, experiences that you've encountered, and you haven't thought about those experiences for years and years, and then all of a sudden, while you're having this communication with the spirit communicator, and those memories or memory flashes up right in front of you, then again, convey what you're seeing, what you're experiencing, because that will be a message for your client or the people you're working with. Because spirit, what they will do is they will utilize your memory bank, if you like, in order to collate that information, bring it to the forefront of your mind, so that then you can convey that to your client, because it's something that they align with and they want to convey in a message. So never ignore what you're experiencing. Also, ask the communicator, can you help? Can you be of any assistance to them? Do they need reconnecting with their loved ones? Do they need a message passing on to somebody in this dimension, the physical dimension? Always give them that opportunity. After all, they've worked really hard to blend their vibrational energy with you, to lower their frequencies down. They've listened to your communications. They've corresponded and answered your questions. They've brought through that evidence. They've shown you images of who they are. And if you're lucky enough, they may give you their name. They may give you an initial or initials to their name. But don't let this be your entire focus when you are communicating with a spirit communicator. Because what you'll find, you'll be focusing so hard on trying to get a name or initial, and you'll be missing all the other vital parts of information, evidential information that they are sharing to you. So always build up that character, always build up those other parts of information first, and just be aware of any names coming in during the time that they're sharing that information with you. And again, just share that with your client or whoever you're working with. But yes, definitely help them. After all, they've given all that information, they've made all that effort, and they've followed the guidelines that you have set in your intentions, should I say. And so give them that opportunity. And of course, do your best to help them. If this means connecting directly with your spirit guide for assistance for you so that you can help them, then so be it. That is what you need to do. But always trust your intuition with this. And again, show a level of two-way respect when you are communicating with spirit. Always introduce yourself and always be confident in what you're doing. Vibrate in the vibration of love and respect. And then you will get that love and respect back tenfold from spirit. You may even get more than what you anticipated. They will like to bring humor into the situation because, as you know, humor heightens the vibration. It makes us feel good. So they will use that in order to hold that vibrational connection with you whilst having that interaction with you on an energetic level. So watch out for that sense of humor coming through from that communicator. And then obviously you thank them for taking that time, and you thank them for all that effort that they've put in order to work with you, because it is a team effort. So if you're a little bit stubborn with the way that you're working and you're not working quickly enough and you're not working with love and respect, then you're not going to get those answers that you're wanting for your client or whoever you're working with. So always thank them and show that level of love and respect. And then after you've come out of that experience, I would certainly recommend to ground your energy, stamp your feet, be familiar with your surroundings, clap your hands loud and clear, and that will snap you out of that vibration, pulling you back into this dimension as well, allowing you to be present and for you to focus on what's happening in the now. So I would utilize all of those little tips that I've shared with you when you are communicating with a spirit, as you will notice that your abilities will amplify leaps and bounds. Now, obviously, this is directed to a lot of people that are currently sensitive and that do realize that they have this ability of witnessing spirit. So I'm just giving you a few little pointers to maybe consider so that you too can have more of an interactive experience when you connect with spirit. But the key factors is always protect your vibration, always do a prayer of intention, set your boundaries, show that level of love and respect, but also keep questioning, keep asking the questions, and then thank them for their efforts that they've brought through. As ever, there's loads of examples I could give you where I've worked with spirit communicators, but there's several ones that stick out in my mind. There was an interesting interaction where I did a house cleansing in Derbyshire, in the United Kingdom, where I was met, as soon as I walked into the property, I linked in, and I was met by this spirit gentleman that was standing at the top of the stairs. I verbally called out who I was, why I was there, and I was there with love and respect, there to help as well. And then I was met with some very strong language, should I say, from this masculine energy that was stood in spirit at the top of the stairs there. Well, it was a case of not letting that fear energy rattle my cage, so to speak. I was there to do a job. I was there to help any spirit communicators that were stuck in that dimension and help to clear the vibration in that property. And so that's what I did, basically. And I gained the confidence and respect of that communicator by telling them a little bit about myself and then asking little questions, leading questions that led to in turn finding out what brings them joy and love and what they enjoy doing. And then once you get them on that vibration, then everything changes. Everything changes for the better, but it's about building that level of trust up, even if on the outset or even if the start of that interaction is quite a negative one. Just keep vibrating in the vibration of love and light and build upon that trust and build that connection there. Another one that I experienced was in Lincoln as well, and in Lincolnshire. And again, that spirit communicator was a little bit bewildered why I was there. And I feel that he didn't realize that he'd passed. He was in his very own timeline, going back in time, and he was very much stuck in that part of his life there, although he was a spirit being, and he was still in that property, causing not too much problems or issues, but nevertheless the occupants of that property was aware of various interactions and energy changes and just a little bit of unusual activity occurring in the home. So that's why I was called into it. But again, in engaging in very positive conversation with this gentleman, he was a little bit startled why I was there. And, it was his home after all. And he was just, what are you doing here? So I had to almost build this level of trust up, explain who I was, and gave him a few pointers. And I told him about me. And again, that is the basis of it, is just building that level of trust, opening up, and then just asking leading questions that indeed helps them to heighten their vibration, to take them over should they want to cross over. Because some spirit communicators that are trapped in this dimension don't necessarily want to move on. They're quite comfortable. They're quite content where they're at. So always ask them. Don't assume that just because they're stuck and they're there that you need to help them. In this case, I did help them because it was felt and it was told to me by my spirit guide that they did need to be connected with their family, but not every spirit does. So always give them that opportunity. And then, of course, like I say, this can run into rescue work, like I've just described, helping that spirit to make their transition back with their family in the world of spirit there. But there's lots of different things that can occur when you first of all know who you are as an individual. You're aware of what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, and once you get to know you, then your sensitivity can expand and grow to the point where you're at a position where then you can communicate with spirit communicators on a deeper level, with more depth, with more clarity, with more intention, like some of the examples I've described to you and some of the techniques I've shared with you today. It's a beautiful thing to be able to do, and so show that level of love, respect, and that amount of effort that is taken in, that they have to do, that they have to achieve in order to communicate with you. And of course, you've heard what it takes for you to communicate with them. You can't just do it overnight. It does take years of practice, and just trust, and follow your instincts. Well, now we're going to move on to the next segment of the show, which is the channeling, which sees me becoming a vessel for spirit to bring forward their communications for you this week. So sit back, relax, get a pen and paper if you feel inspired to do so, and enjoy this week's channeling from the world of spirit.
It is a distinct pleasure to come through and talk to you in this fashion through the vehicle today. We'd like to talk about self-responsibility and understanding that you have the power all along to change and influence the course of your path in any direction you wish. And what we mean by that is obviously there's been a course of action plotted for you, and various points on your destination within your agreed timeline, within your earthbound carnation, has been agreed. But nevertheless, you've always got that perspective of free will, free choice, and that indicates you going and following your whatever it is that draws you in that whatever direction you're choosing. And so you can navigate your way through your pathway by following your intuition and listening to that higher self, giving you that higher perspective and influence to make sure that you tick all the boxes on your agreed timeline that you agreed to before you came here in this earthbound incarnation. Some of you may fulfill that life purpose, those life events, in order to expand and grow and have that level of, shall we say, education on the earth plane, whereas some of you may not tick all of those boxes. And when this is the case, where you haven't fulfilled entirely your agreement, then this is where you will have that opportunity to come back in a different form, in a different being, in a different personality, to fulfill those life lessons that you didn't quite hit the mark on. However, those of you that follow in your higher self and trust that intuition, more than likely will fulfill all of those agreements. But we're not saying there's a right and wrong answer or right and wrong perspective with either of one of these scenarios that we are showing you or telling you today. We're just merely saying that there's always a way, and where there's a will, there's always a way, and that there's always an open door for you. So our point with this conversation is to tell you that, obviously, to take personal responsibility, to have an understanding of who you are and your higher self and the truth of your purpose here on this earth plane, you have that responsibility. But those of you that choose not to take that responsibility will more than likely have to come back and reincarnate in a different life form in order to fulfill your destiny, to fulfill your, shall we say, your purpose, your learnings on your pathway. Now, all of these learnings on your pathway add up to the greater value, the expansion of the universe. So it's not just an individual experience, it will be added to the collective. So that everyone and everything and every entity and all energies will benefit from you fulfilling your role here, what you've agreed to do. Now, the beauty of this, which is not often spoke about, is the fact that when you are at a higher vibration and when you are understanding of your purpose and who you are as an individual, and you know about various principles about setting intentions and asking and meditating and understanding frequency and energy work, then you have that opportunity to tap into the collective mind, the collective consciousness. And so, for example, if you wanted to have an experience upon your earthbound incarnation whilst you're in your physical body, but you wanted that energetic, intellectual experience of, say, being another important individual that played out in your historic timeline on the earth plane. We could give you many examples of these various characters that are known to you all, but say if you did want to have an understanding of them and what they did on a day-to-day level, then with your purest intention and by asking the higher realms in a meditative state, then it would be granted for you to have this experience and have this sort of this snapshot into that persona, that life, that vibration, that well-known character in your historic records played out. And you would come back with a different understanding and a different perspective of that individual to the one, an understanding that you have been told in your historic records. You'll have a more unbiased approach, shall we say. And it can be very rewarding for your soul when you go and ask and fulfill these duties of stepping in another's shoes on an energetic frequency, which can only be achieved by going into a, shall we say, a type of trance, but in a meditative state, so that you're not consciously thinking about it. Your vibration is simply matching to that of that character's experience. Because as we've said many times on here, everything is happening in the now moment. Although with your records, there's a past, there's a present, there's a future, and we say yes to that, but also that it's all happening now. Everything is now, and it's where you place your consciousness, your intention, your desire, and that alignment of frequency energy is what you're going to experience. So your particular genetic and energetic code is giving you the experience of who you are, your earthly name, your soul. It's giving you that experience. But if you change your focus and tune in and ask with intention, you can have that experience of anything and anyone. This can be an inanimate object, it can be a plant, it can be an animal, it can be a person, it can be what we would call the alien races, it can be anything, and you could be anywhere. So this will give you a little bit of something to have a think about. But what we will say to you, if you are seriously considering experimenting and giving this a try and a go, that you must have a respect for yourself, respect for the process, and have an understanding of protection, have an understanding of the angelic realm, have an understanding of frequency, of intentional prayer work, and have an allowance of that blending of the energies, and the letting go is also part of this very unusual practice that we're bringing to your knowledge base today. So letting go is not having any form of judgment, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, just being there and allowing that multiple sensory experience to occur when you have set that intention through the medium of meditation. So it will be very, very highly, absolutely fantastic for you to go through this. But what we would certainly recommend, if you're wanting to extract information from this experience about these encounters and characters that you're wanting to have a greater understanding about, then what we say to you is that you record that information by writing it down after the experience. Granted, you will not be given permission to record every facet and every detail within that experience, but nevertheless you will be allowed to record facets of that experience, so that it can help you align and have an understanding that individual as you tapped into the universal knowledge base. So I understand that this conversation has taken many tangents upon the subject matter of taking personal responsibility. But you see, when you do that, the universe and the doors open up for you, the doors of perception open up for you when you have that alignment, that vibrational intention and viewpoint of non-judgment. This can be very beneficial for learning from your past, in order that you don't repeat that cycle into your present and future moments. So it would be an ideal scenario with old belief systems that were socially acceptable, that are no longer socially acceptable in your now understanding of your present moment. This will also have a beneficial quality about learning skills and crafts and abilities that do appear to have vanished from your current moment in your life, where now everything in your now moment appears to be mechanized and computer-based and programmed in order to be manufactured. But you can use this experience to learn old crafts, old old beliefs and old, shall we say, understandings of various plants, various fauna, the use of them in medicational format, in the form of healing, vibrational qualities, and frequency. A lot of that information has been, shall we say, squished and squashed out of your conscious now reality. But if you're wanting to pursue that on a deeper level, then using these techniques that we've gingerly explained to you will help you reobtain that information, bringing it into your current reality, so that you and your future generations can still benefit from that seeded knowledge from the original, shall we say, timelines of the Earth plane. And we use the term original timelines. We're talking about the ones that aren't fully reported in your historic records, because as you may or may not have this understanding, there has been a doctrinization, a tampering of the actual events, the actual tampering of various crafts and techniques and substances. It's been tinkered with so that you can't dive any deeper and use it for the greater good of all, you see. It's been done to keep you small, to keep you at a various thresholds so that you can't thrive, and instead you've been kept in a vibration of survival. So it's up to you now. We give you, and have told you, information about personal responsibility. And if you consider that this knowledge, forgotten knowledge, is part of your responsibility to bring it forward again into your current reality, then by all means, please have a go at this, what we're suggesting to you. But make sure you have everything that we spoke about, all the procedures in place before you even begin to think about doing it. It won't just happen overnight. It will take time, just like mediumship and building that relationship up of trust and allowance. It will take time, but we assure you it will be worth your efforts, your continued devotion. It will certainly pay off in dividends, as you will in turn be passing on that truth, vibrational knowledge that has been hidden from your now and past timelines. So, thank you for listening, and I'm going to pass you over to another communicator that wants to share a little bit of information with you. Goodbye for now, and we'll look forward to communicating with you very soon.
One feels very honored to come through. I'll make this very brief and very to the point. It is now or never. It is now that you can realize that you are a bright universe within your own vibration. You are your own teleportation system where you can come and go as you please in multiple dimensional frequencies. You have the ability to do this. You will have the ability to do this through relaxing the mind and not focusing on anything in particular, just being in that vibration and having that intention to allow. And you will experience life very differently when you do. As you will start to see and visualize new dimensions in your dimensions as the frequencies overlap and cause some elements of visual, audible and emotional distortions within your vibrational frequency. But nevertheless, it would be an absolute pleasure for you to experience this wonderful joining of the worlds of the vibrations. Some of you may have the ability of seeing your loved ones, your family, your friends in this vibrational alignment, which will bring you a sense of joy and understanding that you never really
never really die. In fact, you just change your form and continue to exist and flow through the universe, meandering through the different frequencies, learning the different lessons, and loving every moment of it as you do so. We'd like to inform you that we're all tremendously proud of you, and to follow on from the previous communicator, we would like to certainly encourage those of you that are feeling drawn to that technique that was described to you to give it a go, as you will be amazed with the informational exchange that will be vibrationally placed in alignment with you, for you to share your meanderings and findings on whatever subject matter you feel drawn, or whatever person or technique you feel drawn to learn about. You will bring it forward with your purest of intentions. So for now, we thank you for listening to this communication, and we'd like to end this transmission with a small amount of sound healing vibrational frequency treatment, so that you will find it easier after listening to this to get into this state of oneness with the universe, where you can learn to explore with playful curiosity the techniques that we have underlined during this transmission. We thank you for listening, and we look forward to connecting with you very soon. Take care and God bless. Goodbye for now.
Another fantastic transmission there from the world of spirit. Very interesting to learn about that we have our power all along, and feel that energetic pull pulling us in the direction of our life. Also interesting about life lessons, and if we don't learn them in this lifetime, then we will have the opportunity to learn them in a new lifetime, in a new incarnation there as well. Fulfilling those life lessons, that was blew my mind actually. And also that we're multiple dimensional beings, and by setting out our intentions we can experience these new worlds and energy shifts there. And of course the sound healing at the end gave me chills, the back of my neck tingled, my throat chakra tingled. Absolutely incredible. So now we're going to move on to the forecast reading for this week. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday, the 22nd of May, 2023. Now, those of you that have watched me before will know that I consult the wisdom of my spirit guides and helpers, and also consult the wisdom of the angel tarot cards. So what I'm about to do is literally shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out at random for this week's energy forecast reading. We've got some jumpers today. Here we go. So, it's a stubborn one, this one. So obviously that's part of your reading. So this is your card for this week's energy forecast reading. So first of all, let's address that stubbornness with the card not willing to come out. So I feel that this week is something to do with your stubbornness. Maybe you need to move out of your own way. Maybe you're restricting yourself from growth in terms of your awakening, in terms of the opportunities that are right under your nose, but you're too stubborn to actually recognize them. So the message within that is move out of your own way this week. Also, I feel a lot of tension building up as I'm linking into you all this week. So I feel that represents you learning to relax, learning to go with the flow a little bit more, and taking that time out so that you can allow your energies to recalibrate. Also know that this week, that once you do this, there will be a new level of health in your life, health benefits. You'll have more energy, you'll have more inspiration, you'll have clear conscious thought, so you'll be able to interact with your now moments on a faster level rather than dwelling upon things and worrying about things. You'll just know instinctively what to do. This week also sees you having to bite your tongue with certain communications in your life. Maybe you're wanting to react to a certain situation, and instead of doing that, this week we'll see you actually pausing for 5 seconds, taking that big deep breath, and then communicating. Notice how I use the term communicating, not reacting. There's a difference, and obviously you're going to be more mindful. You're going to be working from the higher self. So remember the pause, count to 5, take a deep breath, and then respond accordingly. This week will also see you starting to feel excitement coming into your life. Notice how your life is moving and has been moving since the beginning of this year, very incrementally, to these beautiful opportunities and blessings that are manifesting into your now reality. This week we'll see the start of that process. So you'll start to experience, shall we say, breadcrumbs of those manifestations coming into your physical reality. They can be big, they can be small, but whatever the case may be, you will be getting signs from the universe that things are turning for the better. Obviously, the weather is changing as well, so your vibration is going to be heightening. You're going to be feeling in a better state of mind as well, more clarity coming in. And there's also a need for you, or certainly an urge for you to get away. You're feeling that energetic pull to get away, having a change of location, a change of scenery. Now, if you don't have the opportunity to physically move out your location, then maybe mix things up a little bit in your location. So maybe redecorating, maybe moving the furniture around, maybe changing the way that you look at the environment in which you live and work. And that will indeed refresh your energy, refresh your mind, giving you that new insurgence of energy to help you in your now and future moments. Be aware also of your teeth. I'm feeling the top set of the teeth for those that are watching this. Notice that there will be a little bit of tight feeling, a little bit of tension around that area of the physical body. I feel as though that this is because you have been biting down whilst you've been asleep without realizing, and allowing a lot of that inner tension to come out of you. And so if you do wake up in the morning feeling a little bit of discomfort around this area and around the jaw area, this is because you've been releasing some of those subconscious energies that you've clung on to for such a long time. So let's turn over the card. The card says at the top, 1 of forces. So I'd like to encourage you to research the angel number 1, as I feel that that is very prominent for you this week. Also, it's telling you to look after yourself a little bit more. Without you being in top form, everything else will suffer around you, including family, including the colleagues that you work with. So you need to be on tip-top form. So stop neglecting yourself. Forces indicates you going with the flow, but also stop forcing things to happen. Going with the flow will allow you to interact with the universe and your highest intentions. So stop forcing things, go with the flow. At the bottom of the card, it reads the Akashic Field. What this represents, I feel, is you already know your future. You already know what's mapped out for you. This is telling you now to link into that vibration via your higher self, by trusting, by going with the flow. And you'll have a sense, a magnetic pull pulling you down the pathway that you need to walk on your life, in your life. And you'll just feel it. And when you feel it, you won't have any resistance. You won't have any urge to change things. You'll just go with the flow and trust, because you'll feel that vibration being very high vibrational, and you'll know that you've got something to learn, and you know that this is for the greatest good of yourself and those around you. So pay attention to those magnetic stirrings from the heart, pulling you in the right direction on your life's path. Looking into the artwork of the card, around the edge we've got an orange mixed in with yellow. That would indicate, first of all, the solar plexus, which is the stomach muscle area, and also the solar plexus chakra, which is your intuition. Those butterfly feelings that you feel in that part of the physical body will also navigate you towards things that align with you and things that are in misalignment with you. So pay attention to that. The orange indicates the sacral chakra. This is also talking about you getting that abundance of energy to help catapult you into the next phase of your life this year. So watch out for that process occurring. Also, orange represents very calming, very healing, and paying attention to your physical diet there as well, making sure that you're getting all the vitamins and minerals that you need so that you have that abundance of energy, so that you can fulfill your daily duties. In the artwork itself, we've got this beautiful setting. It looks very otherworldly. It reminds me of Scotland. I've never been there, but from the images I've seen of Scotland, it reminds me of that as well. So that sort of dramatic landscape. It's, with that being said, I feel as though it's telling you to avoid drama this week. So whatever form that comes in, whether this comes in the form of people gossiping, people trying to get you on board with their opinions. In other words, see the bigger picture, don't be pulled into it, and follow your heart. And like we said earlier, don't just react to a situation. Take that pause, breathe for 5 seconds, and then respond accordingly. And you'll notice it will get you out of a lot of sticky situations. It's also telling you in this artwork to follow your heart as well. And don't let others dilute that energy, the beauty of the truth of who you are. No matter what they're saying, what their actions are, always connecting with your heart and move from that perspective there. There's a lot of blues in this card as well, which would indicate you communicating clearly rather than just hinting, using hints as a way of avoiding pure, strong communications. You need to just get straight in there and communicate openly and clearly about how you feel, your emotions. So watch out for that this week, as I feel that that is prominent there as well. Also, there's going to be some twists and turns in this week, but I feel as though towards Friday of this week, you'll notice things that will be starting to get a lot better for you, and you'll start and feel that level of excitement. So that's what I'm picking up for this week's energy forecast reading. I hope that's aligned with you. Thank you for liking, hearting, commenting, and sharing. If you've enjoyed what you've seen on here today and you would like a one-to-one private reading or any other of my services, then please head over to my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium. In the meantime, come and join me every Monday at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on www.pulsetalkradio.com for my radio show called From Beyond with Glenn Boddice, which is all about self-help, paranormal, and spiritual ascension. So it'd be wonderful to see you there. In the meantime, have a blessed week. God bless and take care. Thank you.
Well, it sounds like we're all in for a very interesting week this week, doesn't it? Lots to think about there in that forecast reading. So I hope that information aligns with you and helps you navigate your way through the course of this week. Again, thank you for listening in this week. Very interesting information that was shared from the world of spirit. Gave us a lot to think about and maybe digest through the course of our week this week as well. I hope you enjoyed the information that was all brought forward from the world of spirit to help you learn and grow and expand your awareness. I would like to invite you, if you have any show suggestions, any ideas or any stories to share, to please contact me at www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com or via my email address glennboddice@live.co.uk. In the meantime, I'll see you at the same place, same time next week at 4 p.m. Take care. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information
about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium